because they're holding it for you. So before love was a word, it was an experience. But let's peel that onion back a little bit more. Before love was an experience, it was a divine idea, a divine possibility. It did not have form. It didn't look like what we as human beings contextualize love to be. It was much deeper. It was a divine possibility that had many, many ways it could and did express. So before love was a word, it was the pure potential of God's expression as all of us, each of us, a divine idea in the mind of God. The divine idea of Peter, of Nancy, of Bill. Love is what we are. I want you to feel that. Breathe that in with me today. Love is what you are. Not some of us, not a few of us, not the ones that think like we do, not the ones that look like we do, but love is what we are. A singularity of spirit, a divine idea. You see, even before love was a divine idea in the mind of God, love was God itself. In the beginning was just the pure possibility of the energy of love. Another name for God, plain and simple. We're going to peel that onion back a lot today. I invite you to feel and know the divine essence of God in your soul as love and unite with that big bang when finally that energy had a thought and imploded upon itself and all creation began. It's not some of us, but all of us. Love is what we are, and love is the avenue through which we remember who we are. And love is the portal and the means by which we remember we belong to each other. Say that with me. We belong to each other. Here's a truth that I want you to breathe in today. There's only one of us here, and it goes by the name of love. There is only one. Go ahead and applaud for that. I'm all right with that. Gives me a chance to drink. The talk today is the heart of the matter. And I looked up synonyms for what the heart of the matter. This is going to kick off a month-long May where we celebrate the miracle of love. Mother's Day is happening. We're going to have a baby blessing here in the month of May, and we're going to celebrate all the many avenues and possibilities and ways that love expresses. But the heart of the matter, some synonyms for that, it's the substance. It is the gist, it is the core, it is the fundamentals, it is the essence, it is the basics, it is the root, it is the soul, it is the meat and potatoes, it is the bottom line, it is the brass tacks, it's the nuts and the bolts, it's the essential part. That's what love is. In essence, it's the most important thing. It's why we exist. It's why we exist as a community. To love. Oh, there's a lot of words and a lot of things and activities that happen on top of that. But when we peel that onion back, it's why we exist as a community, as a family, as brothers and sisters, finding each other once again, cells within the body of God, coming back together to remember, oh, we forgot for a moment. And if I look at the world today, boy, we've forgotten a lot. A lot of the world has forgotten. So what we do here is vitally important. Let there be a remembering here of that initial thought. Let there be a remembering today of who and what we are. The master teacher, our elder brother, our way shower, Jesus the Christ, was asked, what is the greatest commandment? You know, you can take that Bible, which is full of a whole bunch of words, and all the religions of the world, a whole bunch of words, and this is what they asked him, trying to trick him. What is the greatest commandment? This is what he had to say. I invite you to read it with me. Together. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength and with all your mind. The second is just like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. And he continues, there is no commandment greater than these. Plain and simple. It's the brass tacks. It's the meat and potatoes. Beyond all the theology, beyond all the thoughts, beyond all the ideas, the agreements and disagreements, when we get down to it, we belong to each other as the essence of love, as cells within the body of love coming together to remember. This is a great remembrance today. That's what we do when we come here. It must be pretty important because that, in one form or another, is in 3 of the 4 Gospels. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. I don't know what happened to John, because John is supposedly the one that represents love, but he didn't have that statement. But it must be important if it made 3 of the 4 Gospels. Let's go to Buddha, because we are an interfaith community. What did Buddha have to say? Let's read it together. Love is a gift of one's innermost soul to another, so both can be whole. Love is what heals us. Not just us individually. Love is what heals the world. Love is what makes us whole again. We seem to be a bit of a broken humanity right now, don't we? And we think, oh, well, no, it's just broken in Ukraine or in Poland or in North Korea. No, it is broken because we belong to each other. There's only one of us here on the planet, and it goes by the name of love. And so there is a call coming out from the earth itself, from humanity itself, to get back to wholeness. Before love was a word, it was just a state of being. It was a state, a call from each of us as ambassadors, as emissaries, as testimony to the presence of God to come back to that remembrance. It is the glue that keeps relationships, countries, communities, families, and lives together, even when it is dark, even when it is difficult. Before love was a word, it was an essence that is needed now more than ever. Charles Fillmore is the co-founder of Unity. He, along with his wife Myrtle, wrote this. Let's say this one together. Love is the great harmonizer and healer. It is the inner quality that sees good everywhere and in everybody. Everywhere and in everybody. No exceptions. And you hear me say it all the time, we simply cannot make exceptions to where we find the face of God. We cannot make exceptions to where we find the face of love, no matter how difficult it might be. We must have the eyes of love, the ears of love, the spirit of love to then ferret it out, because love is there somewhere, even if it has been forgotten. Love is waiting for us to discover it, and we give up too easily. You know, those of us on a faithful path of becoming and evolution need to absolutely look a little bit more clearly in those dark places to where love exists. And let me tell you, those that search for love will find it. Whatever you're looking for, you're going to find it. But you've got to be committed and diligent as a practice. Those who look for love will find it, and those that faithfully hold on to love as the one and only truth beneath the surface of all conditions and people are those that are healing the planet and making it whole again. You know what? I watch the news, and I see what's going on. I have family members over in Ukraine that are seeing it firsthand and conveying back what they are experiencing there. It would be really easy to spend all of our time focusing on how terrible it is, how awful it is. We don't deny it. There's a human condition happening on our planet. There's a human conditioning happening in our backyard here because wars take many, many different forms. We don't deny that they're happening, but for God's sake, give 51% of your attention to looking for the good that's in the middle. And the reports that come back from my stepson from the border on Ukraine is there are people loving people, putting a hand out, extending kindness and compassion just as much as there are bombs, so we don't make the news with that. I'm saying look for it. We need to have the eyes of the Christ to find the good when nobody else can see it. We need to be the avenue of love and be like a pit bull with a bone and get a hold of what love is and find it. It doesn't mean we deny what is happening in the human condition. Pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's. There's going to be consequences for war crimes. But there will also be love that is so solid within our own hearts that when the time comes for healing and wholeness, not only in our church, not only in our community, but in the world, we will be leading the charge. We will be leading love's charge. Yes? So I want you to pray with me today. Love, have your way with me. Together? Love. That's a nice practice. I don't believe you. Love, have your way with me now. That came from here. And here, I want you to dip down. And I want it to come from the core of you. The love. Before love was you, love was an energy, a soul, a spiritual reality. Love, have your way with me now. Together. Love. There you are. There you are. That's what we do here. That's why what we do here, this small little group of people, that's why it's so vitally important. It's no small thing. What we're doing here is not small at all when we gather in community with the sole purpose of allowing ourselves to let love lead the way. A reminder, a great reminder, every time we sit in these chairs together and spend time amongst our brothers and sisters, something good is happening. Love is leading the way. It's not a small thing when we gather with the sole purpose of allowing ourselves to be the conduit and to be the avenue through which that big bang can happen every single moment. Every thought I have is focused on love. How do I love you more readily? How do I love you beyond your behavior? How do I love you behind our disagreement? How do I love you underneath the surface of the tension that's in the room? That's what we do here. We're coming back together as cells to find each other once again and to be the portal for a greater expression. I follow love's leading today. Say that with me. I follow love's leading today. One more time. I follow love's leading today. It is no small thing when one person on the planet reaches out to somebody else in need. It's no small thing when one person on the planet sees the good in those who are behaving badly. And there's a lot of bad behavior on the planet. Let 51% of your energy be on looking for the good, not judging the bad, not judging the dark. It's no small thing when we come together as individuals and as a collective to be the expression of love when nobody else seems to be doing it. I get really tired of my own complaints. Oh, the world's falling apart. It's so dark. Be the love I want to see in the world. I must give more love. If I am experiencing that, I must be a stronger, more potent, powerful expression of love in form. I'm tired of the world complaining about those people and those people and those people. And the reality is, if we're seeing it, there's something within us that needs to be healed. There's a wholeness that we need to restore on the planet that starts first in our mind and in our heart. I must be a more proactive expression of love. I must be a more proactive and strong and bold and courageous expression of that which I am. Because if I am living in judgment and attack and fight, guess what? I'm living out of congruity with what I am. Before there was any of this, love was the divine essence. Love is what I am. Together, love. Love is what I will always be. Love. Love is. You know, I often like to start my ministerial sessions when there's a counseling or a coaching or just an opportunity to support somebody. I often start with these words. Once again, Richard and Grant have found each other at the level of the heart. Once again, Jennifer and Richard have found each other at the level of the heart. Let's take that into a prayer. The Master Teacher told us where two or more are gathered in the name of His name, the name of love and light and peace and harmony and joy, there I am in the midst of them. So we start there. And when we start there, I get to see the love that's behind the story I'm about to hear. I get to put myself into the mindset of hearing the love that's underneath the opinion I'm about to hear. I get to put myself and my consciousness and my whole soul in the place of my inception. Love is what I am. Therefore, any problem or any concern that comes between us, the dip, I can take the dip and I don't dip down so far that I can't get back up again. I've fallen and I can't get up. Start with the intention of love is what you are. Start with the intention of love is what you aim to be. Start with the intention that no matter how you behave, I will see the love in you. That's following the Master Teacher, the Elder Brother, and the Way Shower. It's letting love lead the way. It's letting love be more powerful than any human story or any human concern. I intentionally meet people at the love that's underneath all of it, and that's what we're called to do. I'm not always good at it. Sometimes people have to call me up short and remind me, once again, Drea and Richard have found each other at the level of love. And Richard, you need to wake up because you're not looking like love. Once again, Kim and Richard have met each other in the place of love. With love as the starting point, we will be assured as a human race that love will be the ending point, and we can take the hits. We can take the dips, but we must start at the beginning. Go back to the beginning. In the beginning was love, and it had a divine idea, and out of it all creation sprang. Let's remember who we are. Today I ask you to pray, love, use me. Together? I'm not buying it yet. Let me feel it from the core of who you are and who you have been since the beginning of time. Together, love, use me. Open up your arms and open up your head, open your mind and your spirit. Come on, even the guys in the room, I know you don't like to do this. I'm not going to make you dance. Come on, Grant. Love, use me. Together. Love, use me. Can you feel that? Cells are finding each other once again in this room. You said, love, use me. Becky said, love, use me. I said it. Susan said it. And somehow, did you feel the power in that? Do it again. Together. What we do here is no small thing. It is necessary. Love, use me when I watch the news. Love, use me when I talk about the Russian people and the Ukrainian people and the neighbor next door and the obnoxious uncle. Love, use me. I am the great restorer of balance and harmony on the planet. And that is not anybody else's responsibility. It is my responsibility. Say that with me. It is my. One more time. It is my responsibility. When we do this, we create a divine appointment. Every person you encounter is a divine appointment. They're not there by accident. They're not there by some place of random chance. It is a divine appointment for love to meet love and create love together. I started to say, and make love together. Maybe not every. But the reality of love is wanting to be birthed, and you find yourself in each other's space, in each other's company. Don't waste the moment. Don't waste the essence of your soul, or a piece of your soul gets set on a shelf and it never comes back. This is not Pollyanna thinking. There's nothing profound about my words today. But what has religion done is taken love and overcomplicated it. Religion has taken love. Let me give you 5 million words to make sure it sounds very intellectual. It's just love. Let's just get down to it, and let's quit over-intellectualizing and over-complicating the truth that we're sharing here today. This is not Pollyanna thinking. It is the use of spiritual law. Let me speak to the scientists in the room. It's using religious spiritual law. Love and law are spiritual partners. This is what Ernest Holmes has to say. He's the founder of the religious science movement. Say it with me. Love points the way, and law makes the way possible. Sisters, brothers, however you want to look at it, they must be collaborating together. They must be dancing together. The two aspects of the one that is God itself, love and law. This is grace. It's not God's responsibility to heal the planet. It's not Jesus's or Buddhist's responsibility. It's yours. It's Atiba and Imani's responsibility to heal the world. So let love guide you. Guide your ears, your eyes, your soul, and then let law work. You see, as you are thinking, it will be manifest in the world, plain and simple. Where you were focusing, where you were giving your attention, it's going to manifest in this field. Not just in this room, but in Ukraine, and in California, and in New York, and in South America, and everywhere, like waves upon the waters. It is expanded, it is increased, it is amplified. Charles Fillmore knew the idea of law. He teaches it. The grace of God in law, this is what Charles Fillmore had to say. Let's read it together. It is the law of spirit that we must be that which we would draw to us. If we would draw to us love, we must be love. We must establish it within ourselves. Plain and simple. You want more love? Give more love. You want a more peaceful planet? Be more peaceful in your heart, and then express it and share it with everybody. What's the old Doobie Brothers song? How many remember? We got the right demographic age of Doobie Brothers. Without love, where would we be now? We would not be here. And I want to just share a little bit about Unity North. Without love, this place wouldn't be here today. When we had the big dip, and we took a big dip. I took a big dip. I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. Unity North, this community, would not be here because the dip, we could not have overcome the dip. But it was love that drove the boat all the way through the dark spots, the dark moments. It is love that allowed me to keep breathing and keep my head above water when my life was falling apart. And I know at least 100 stories right here. It was the love beneath the story that you shared in my office where I said, once again, Tempe and Jody and Richard meet each other at the level of the heart. And I know the stories. I hold them as sacred sanctuaries in my own being. It was love that allowed the dip to happen, but still get to the other side. Without love, we wouldn't be sustained. This community is sustained by love and love only. You have a minister who was not trained to be a minister when I took the reins. I had no idea how to do it. I never wanted it. I'm an introvert through and through, and I did not want to stand up and talk in front of people. Love is what's speaking to you now. Because it's terribly uncomfortable for me to get up here and have you all looking at me. And what makes it worth it is I get to stand up here and I get to look at you. I get to stand up here and listen to the stories and to feel the love underneath. And what a sacred privilege and responsibility and honor it is to look into your eyes, Judith and Yvonne, and to see love at its highest and its best. Patrice and Malcolm. I see love. Natalie and Grant. There's only one of us here, and it goes by the name of love. Love is what has kept us afloat financially, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Love is what lives you and breathes you right now. Nothing complicated about that. Nothing intellectual about that. I don't care. You want intellectualizing and you want to lose God, go down the street to another place that will give you 25 books to prove what I've just talked about. The only proof that we need in this community is your life and your ability to stand in the dark night of your soul and the dark night of a relationship and go, I will be the temple of love and I will stand strong as that temple. I'm going to do an affinity circle. Anybody ever do an affinity circle? I'm going to ask you some questions. And after each of my questions, I'm going to invite you, if you identify with a yes to the answer to this question, that you stand up and just look around the room. All right? You got it? You're going to stand up if it's a yes for you. Or you can put your hand up if the standing is challenging for you. Have you or someone you have ever known been in need because of a medical condition and you didn't know what you were going to do and suddenly somebody showed up to help you? If the answer is yes, stand up. And stay standing. Look around the room. That's love. Be seated. Have you or anybody, you can be seated. You may be getting up again. This is going to feel like Catholic Church. We're going to up, down, kneel, up, down, kneel. That's what it's all about. Have you or anyone you've ever known been hungry? Physically, emotionally, or mentally hungry because of a difficult life situation and somebody showed up with food? Stand up if that's you. Look around the room. Now, really look around the room. Don't just sort of do it. That's love. That's the face of love. Be seated. Have you or anyone you've ever known not been able to get to an appointment because you'd lost your ability to drive or your car was broken down and there was no way to get to the appointment, and suddenly the angel of the Lord appeared as an Uber driver, which is your friend, and said, I will make sure you get there. Stand up. Come on, Tony. Tony put his hand up and he went, ah. The reality is, look around the room. We belong to each other. Please be seated. One more question. Have you ever felt alone? Have you ever felt alone and you did not know how to ask for help? You didn't know who to ask for help when all of a sudden the metaphorical angel of God showed up to remind you, I'm right here beside you. You're not alone. Anybody had that experience? Please stand or put your hand up. Don't sit down yet. Look around the room. Sometimes we come into a place like this and we think, oh, it's the love that unites. It's the spiritual truth. Yes, we are one at a spiritual level, and that's the easy stuff. But the reality is, looking around the room, we all share a human experience. We all have hurt. We all have been hungry at some level. We all have been lost at some place in our lives. We have all felt alone at some point in our lives. We all have a human condition that we've all shared, and somebody showed up. God sent somebody, a Savior, an ambassador. God sent love, sent itself as love. That unites us just as much as the spiritual truth. Please be seated. I even got John to stand up. Thank you, John. What connects us is not just spiritual truth. What connects us is human need, human difficulties that we all share. And the remedy for all those difficulties, I'm sure you know the answer. What is the remedy to all of the human difficulties? What is it? Love. Emmett Fox wrote that that's the solution. Let's put the Emmett Fox quote up there and read it together. There is no difficulty that enough love will not conquer. Let's meet each other there as a congregation, as a family. At any given moment, we or someone we know is going to have these kinds of dilemmas. And Susan Hayden, is Susan in the room? There she is. Susan, take a look at Susan back there standing up. Susan has taken it upon herself to lead the charge for a brand new ministry called the Care Ministry at Unity North. And I'll tell you one thing, it breaks my heart that we have to have an organized structure of care. It breaks my heart that we have to have Susan say, I'm going to lead a care team, and we're going to have a methodical way of caring for each other. It should be organic. That's what I think. We should just naturally be acting from that place. So I'm going to call this the reminder team. Sometimes life gets pretty busy, and we forget. We get so consumed with our own lives that we're wearing the blinders, and we don't see that there are people in need to our left and our right. And we just don't pay attention. One of the things in this church that I've noticed, when I came to this church, there were 5 ministers. We had a care team. I was one of 5 on a care team. We have 1 minister, and what breaks my heart is people have fallen through the cracks because I cannot possibly minister to 600 members and 1,000 people that call this place their home. So we have a care team. And I'm challenging each and every one of you. You promised and you prayed today, love, use me. Love, have your way with me. I didn't manipulate you to do that, but I am going to challenge you. I am going to challenge you to go see Susan and her team in the foyer before you leave. See Judith and her team. And say, giving lip service to love feels good on Sunday morning, and then we go about our business, put our blinders back on, and forget that we belong to each other. So I want you to be a part of the remembrance team, and it may be as simple as one time during the year, one time during the month, you're bringing food to somebody who's hungry. One time during the month, you're reminding somebody you're not alone, and you go read to them for a half an hour. One time during the month, you say, boy, Richard Clancy needs to get to his appointment. Who's going to put their hand up and say, let me have the privilege and the honor of serving this beautiful man when he gets to his appointment? We did that. And you saw the hug that happened up here. That was an expression of love, returning love for the love that was given. Am I correct? You didn't wait. You didn't wait for permission to go thank anybody. You came and you sat down and said, you were there when I felt alone. That's why we exist as a congregation. Our needs are going to take 1,000 different forms. But there's only one of us here. And only one solution here. It must be love. We need, I think, on the planet, a collective soul retrieval. Anybody ever heard the term soul retrieval? Those who have an earth-based spirituality understand that. The indigenous people have shamans that do soul retrievals. There's a belief system that when the soul goes through a trauma, a difficulty, a deep pain, that a part of the soul gets set aside to protect itself. Much like the body. When the body is in a car accident, it goes into shock to protect itself. Well, the soul does the same thing. Unfortunately, that piece of the soul never comes back into the wholeness unless we actively go out and seek it. What I see on the planet today is a collective need for a soul retrieval. That we need to go back and get the soul of humanity back and be the ones that are changing the face of the planet by whatever means you think. A collective soul retrieval is calling for expression. I'm going to invite the band to come up now, and we're going to go into another song. But there's a need for us to be the ones leading the charge, to go back and collect that soul that's been missing for a long time, because the way we're doing it is not working anymore. What we do here is no small thing. I like to look at this and contextualize a gathering on Sunday or Wednesday or whenever we get together, dances of universal peace. It is a soul retrieval. It's 5 people it's 100 people, it's 200 people, it's people watching online, remembering the truth. And I'm not going to forget anymore. I'm getting a piece of humanity's soul back. And maybe, just maybe, we're one step closer to the Garden of Eden. Maybe we're one step closer to the reality that we talk about, that we give lip service to, but maybe love's fullness and richness can live more readily as us, one act of caring at a time. Get on Susan's list before you leave here today. Get on the list. One act of kindness and compassion at a time. We are retrieving that which has been forgotten. And so when I watch the news and I see bombs going off and I get to hear from my son who says, wow, the bombs got closer today. Or the children were crying a little bit more today. Maybe that one act of kindness puts us a little closer as a humanity. I'm going to leave you with a final quote from Saint Bernard, not the dog, the Benedictine monk. And this is what he had to say. Read this with me, please. Love seeks no cause beyond itself and no fruit. It is its own fruit, its own enjoyment. I love because I love. I love in order that I may love. We love for the sake of loving, not reward, not payoff, not recognition, not praise. The acts of love that I see in this congregation are done anonymously most of the time. There's no pats on the back. There's no attaboy. There's no applause for it. But let me tell you, the acts of love, the stories that I get to see in my office, I wish you all could have that view. And I challenge you to get as uncomfortable as I am when I'm standing up here on this platform for the view of love that I get. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're all looking at me. I don't care if anybody's looking or nobody's looking. I will be that which I am. And then I will share the view that I have every time I look into the soul of Chris Bargeron and Rebecca, and I see the face of love. And I see Andrea, who's a part of this care team, and I go, you're new to this congregation. You haven't even been here a year yet. Yet you put your hand up and said, let me lead the care team with Susan. Let me be a part of the great transformation. It's why we're here. We're going to go into meditation.